So, welcome to everyone. In continuation of the concept of the disease, we are going to talk about iceberg phenomena. See, whatever the slide I am passing through is we have already discussed in the previous presentations. Now, I am going to talk about iceberg of the disease. So, if you put the ice in a cup of water, the most portion of the ice will sink below the level of the water level. Only the small portion will be seen above the water level. Likewise, even the disease, whatever the cases you are seeing in the hospital is only the symptomatic cases. So there may be the many number of cases without a symptoms, okay, that subclinical level or in the pre-pathogenesis phase, okay, it may be in the community level. So there is undiagnosed cases will be in the community level. So according to the iceberg phenomena, the tip of the iceberg explains the clinical cases or symptomatic cases what you are seeing in the hospital, in medical college hospital or any private hospital. Okay, so only the cases. So the waterline is the demarcation between the apparent and inapparent cases. So you remember that spectrum of health. That's a good health to the mild sickness. Okay, this is the line of division. Okay, just a line skate on the wall. Like say, if you jump on this side, you are ill. If you jump on this side, you are well. Okay, so it is a waterline represent the demarcation between the apparent and inapparent cases, and submerged portion is the subclinical cases, latent, inapparent, pre-symptomatic, undiagnosed or asymptomatic cases. Whatever things terminology you can use it. It may be you may call it as a latent, or it's inapparent cases, or pre-symptomatic cases, or undiagnosed cases, or asymptomatic cases. So these are all the subclinical cases are most important in the prevention of the disease. In case of diabetes, if you take, so established cases with the symptoms and complications will come to our hospital, but undiagnosed pre-diabetic or the subclinical cases, or many people will be there which were not diagnosed still, but they are still having the disease condition. So these are all some examples are disease showing the iceberg phenomena. These are some communicable diseases, and the diseases not showing the iceberg phenomena. There is no subclinical cases. So by screening you can find out the hidden portion of the iceberg, and diagnostic is the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so whatever the diagnostic investigations you are doing is for only the tip of the iceberg. By applying the screening procedure, you can find out how much of iceberg is hidden under the waterline. So when we discuss about the screening test, we will discuss in detail. Okay, so before understanding the disease and other thing, you must understand what do you mean by natural history of the disease. So now what do you mean by natural history? Okay, in the history you have studied, okay, the natural history of Ashoka. Okay, right? So when a person is born, when a child is born, without doing anything, how you leave the child in the jungle or leave the child in somewhere places, don't bother about that. Okay, don't bother about the child. So what will happen in course of time? How the child will grow, and what will happen? What about her language? What about her activities? Okay, what about the child personalities? How it ends? Okay, right? So without if allow a person to grow on its own, that is called as a natural history. Likewise, when the organism enters into a human body, how it progresses, whether it will become asymptomatic, or whether it will become the mild disease in some persons, or it will become the moderate disease in some person, or it will become the severe disease in some person, and it will cause death in some persons, or it will cause a disability in some persons. Okay, right? So the disease will manifest in different pattern in different persons. So the disease has wide spectrum. Okay, each age and each organism will has a different spectrum. So to study about that part is called as the natural history of the disease. So that is given here is a signifies the way in which a disease evolves over time from the earliest stage of its pathogenesis phase to its termination as recovery, disability or death. in the absence of treatment or prevention. The phases in the natural history of the disease are pre-pathogenesis phase. It refers to the preliminary to the onset of the disease in man. The disease agent has not yet entered the man. The factors which favor its interaction with the human host are existing in the environment. It also referred as we can say it is a man in the midst of the disease or man exposed to the risk of the disease. Look at this disease process. So these are various. This picture explains that how the disease process and levels of prevention and modes of intervention. So the levels of prevention we will see in the next presentation. And now here we are going to see only the natural history of the disease. So agent, host, environment according to the epidemiological triad, and this bring agent and host together to produce a disease provoking stimulus in the human body, and then is called as the pathogenesis phase. It begins with the entry of the disease agent in the susceptible human host, and this is agent, what will happen? The microbiota agent will multiplies, induces tissue and physiological changes. The disease progresses through a period of incubation and later through the early and late pathogenesis. The final outcome of the disease may be recovery, disability and death according to the disease without any interventions. Okay, remember that, without any intervention. Okay, so the phase can be modified by intervention measure like immunization and chemotherapy, where the prevention is going to play a role. Here we are going to talk about only the natural history. What do you mean by natural history? And so pathogenesis phase, the infection may be clinical or subclinical or typical or atypical presentation of the any disease. And now in the corona situation, you can see that the many asymptomatic cases, 85% are asymptomatic and the 15% are symptomatic. Typical presentation, somebody present with a fever, somebody present with the cough and breathlessness. Okay, various manifestations occur. Some may recovering, some death may occur. So what are the determinants? Is here we can, if you discuss about that determinants. Okay, right, the social and cultural habits, whether any people are following social distancing, using the face mask and hand sanitizer, and all the so these are all the determinants. Age group, comorbidities, all this play a role in the natural history of any diseases. In chronic diseases, early pathogenesis phase is less traumatic and also known as a free symptomatic phase, as we discussed in the iceberg phenomena about the diabetes. So entry of the organism after the certain period called as the incubation period, early pathogenesis phase, then late pathogenesis. It may end with the recovery or disability or death. So now look at this. This is a graph deficiting the period of pathogenesis. So stimulus or agent becomes established and increased by multiplication, leads to tissue and physiological changes, signs and symptoms, illness, disability, defect, chronic state and death, or sometimes it may go for the recovery. And so this how the natural history of the disease will happen in the body. It is an example of the poliomyelitis. Child takes contaminated water with the polio virus. So after the incubation period of 7 to 14 days, so most of the polio infection may end as a subclinical infection. Abortive polio is a 4% and non-paralytic polio is a 1%. Okay, so paralytic polio is less than 1%. Okay, right. So that may lead to the residual paralysis or complete recovery. It's very rare, but death may also occur in very rare incidences. Okay. So agent factors. So most important is the agent factors. So definition of agent is a substance living or non-living or a force tangible or intangible or excessive presence or relative lack of which may initiate or perpetuate the disease process. Excessive presence or relative lack, that is it comes in the nutrition. Okay. Biological agents, it's viruses and bacteria. Certain host-related biological properties, all of you have studied in microbiology about what you mean by infectivity and pathogenicity and virulence. Infectivity is the ability of an infectious agent to invade and multiply in the host. Pathogenicity is the ability to induce a clinically apparent illness. And virulence is a proportion of clinical case resulting in the severe clinical manifestations. Nutrition agent are protein, fat, carbohydrate and vitamins Physical agents are heat, cold. The physical agents are heat, cold, humidity, and radiation sounds. Chemical agents, mechanical agents, and social agents are the important agent factors for the disease causation. Host factors, remember this in the epidemiological triad: agent, host, and environment. So, this is the explanation for that. Host factors are demographic, age, sex, and ethnicity, and biological is the genetic, blood groups, and enzymes. Social and economic, socioeconomic status, education, occupation, stress, and marital status. Lifestyle, the habits, personality traits, and physical exercise and smoking, etc. Environmental factors is external to the individual human cost living and non-living. Physical environment like water, air, soil, housing, heat, like that. Biological, bacteria, virus, insects, rodent, animals, etc. Psychosocial, cultural, customs, behavior, habits, etc. All plays environmental factors. Physical environment is the lack of sanitation, especially in developing countries, is the main health problem. And also the created man-made physical bad physical environment like air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, urbanization, radiation hazards. Biological environment are all living organism for the survival in the process. Some act as the disease producing agents, reservoir of infections, and intermediate coast and definitive coast and vector for diseases. All living organisms starting from pig to bat, rat, cat, everything, right? Bats, everything is a living organisms are working for survival in the process. So some may produce a disease agent, some may act as a reservoir infection, and there some may act as an intermediate coast, definitive coast, and vector for disease like mosquito. And psychosocial environment is it is difficult to define against the varied socio-economic and cultural context of the different countries. This factor affects the individual health, healthcare, and community well-being. And the psychosocial environment may be the impact may be positive or negative. The positive factors are community participation in healthcare. Negative factor is or poverty, urbanization, migration, stressful situation, loss of employment leads to anxiety, depression, anger, and frustrations. All this may result in the psychosomatic disorders like duodenal ulcer, hypertension, heart disease, mental disorder, social deviant behavior, etc. Each disease has its own natural history. Remember, each disease has its own natural history. It differs in each also natural history differs in each individual. What physician sees in the hospital is just an episode of natural history. In chronic disease, something is different. So interaction is not understood between this agent, host, and environment. In natural history of chronic diseases, the early pathogenesis phase is less dramatic. In pre-symptomatic stage, pathological changes are below the level of clinical horizon. Okay, if you think about this diabetes, the pre-diabetic, okay, the GTT level, impaired glucose tolerance level, remember all these things. Okay, up to 70% of the blood supply is stopped. There is no infarction. Some person won't get the angina pectoris. Okay, right? So, and up to 50% of the nephrons are damaged. No renal failure occurs. Clinical and signs and symptoms appear. The disease phase is already well advanced in the late pathogenesis phase. So, when the disease is advanced to the late pathogenesis phase, then only the clinical signs and symptoms appear in the non-communicable and chronic diseases. What are the gaps in the natural history of the chronic diseases is absence of known agents. We don't know how it is being caused. And multifactorial causation, which factors is responsible for which disease. Its multiple factors play a important role in the causation of the disease of chronic illnesses and long latent period. It's unidentified, undiagnosed, inapparent, pre-symptomatic. Okay, so it is a long latent. We fail to recognize we got the disease. And indefinite onset, when it will start, when it has started, when it will start, when it will manifest, we don't know. Okay, so we talk about in chronic diseases, we talk about the risk factors. So what are the risk factors? Who are all the risky person that will have the disease, that will develop the disease of chronic in nature. So absence of known agent is, for some disease it's known, for many disease causes not known. Both, so the absence of known agent makes both diagnosis and specific prevention difficult. Some multifactorial causation and long latent period. Okay, look at this: silicosis, anthracosis, and asbestosis, and indefinite onset. We don't know when it will start. Risk factors for coronary heart disease, cancer, peptic ulcer, mental illness, there are disease agent is not firmly established. So the etiology is generally discussed in terms of the risk factors. What do you mean by risk factor? The risk factor is an attribute or exposure that is significantly associated with the development of the disease. A determinant that can be modified by intervention. Presence of risk factor does not imply that disease will occur, or its absence that disease will not occur. Risk factors are observable and identifiable prior to even they predict. There are different combination of the risk factors. Additive risk factors like smoking and oxygen exposure to dust, synergistic and causative risk factors, contributory risk factors, predictive risk factors, modifiable risk factors, non-modifiable risk factors, community risk factors. Okay, these are all the various type of risk factors that is in the causation of the disease. So look at this, some diseases, example of some diseases. Heart disease, the risk factors are smoking, high BP, elevated cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, lack of exercise. Sorry, spelling mistake. Okay, type A personality. And cancer, smoking, alcohol, radiation, diet, certain infectious agents, and diabetes, obesity, and diet. Even in genetic factors, also the risk factors. Accident is the alcohol, using the seat belt, speed and design of the road and vehicle. Risk groups. So those are who are all the risk groups. For if we take for accident, the risk groups are the very adults, okay, young college going children, or they are more prone. They are a risky group. Okay, so under 5 children, pregnant mothers, elderly fall in the risk groups. Okay, now the risk group depends upon the disease. Okay, which disease is the risk group we define. For example, malnutrition, it is the under 5 children. Eclampsia, pregnant mothers, or diabetes, or the history of bad obstetric history, and very old age group with those who are having osteomalacia and osteoporosis. Okay, they are elderly fall. For if you take the accidents, the youth, they are more prone for the accident. They are risky groups. Risk approach, an approach developed by promoted with the World Health Organization, is to define criteria and direct appropriate action to them. See, nothing but the risk approach is you have to identify the risky person in the community based on the risk factors what they are exposed, and intervening with the appropriate measures, okay, to rectify the defect or rectify the factors in the risk group. That is a risk approach. So what are the guidelines to defining the risk group? Already we discussed. Okay, biological situation, age, infant for low birth weight, female reproductive age, genetic family history of diabetes, and physical situation, rural or urban slums. Okay, and water supply in corona. If you take, it is a urban slums, and the slum people are the house where the place where the houses are very crowded. The spread of the corona is more spreading. Okay, they are the very risky groups. Okay, and also the old age people are very risky for this COVID-19. Like during diarrhea, water supply, where there is no water supply, that people are very high risk groups. And low socio-economic status, no accessibility, non-accessibility to the health services, non-availability of the health hospitals are also the risky groups. Okay. So with that we have concluded the concept of the disease. The first part we talk about the theory of the disease. In the second part we talk about the iceberg phenomena and natural history of the disease. And also we discussed about the epidemiological triad, agent factor, host factor, and environmental factors. And we talk about how this epidemiological triad is different in the chronic diseases, and what is the difficulties in diagnosing the chronic diseases at an early stage. So we have to follow the risk approach with the considering the risk factors in the various group. Okay, with this I conclude the concept of disease. Thank you very much.